Hello and welcome to today's crypto video, and it's been a while since I've had a look at CoinMarketCap to check the prices, but instead of just looking at the biggest winners and biggest losers, I'm instead going to focus on the price of some of the tokens related to the Polkadot ecosystem or which are building on Substrate, just to kind of see how they've been doing so far, because I know that Bitcoin has taken off quite a lot compared to how it was back in September and back in August even. And the altcoins are absolutely devastated, right? I mean, the price just plummeted as all the traders are moving towards Bitcoin, putting their funding into Bitcoin to ride that wave to the upside. And I think as soon as we find some more stability with Bitcoin's price, then we should be able to see the altcoins continue off from there and push back up. But again, there is no guarantee, because if Bitcoin's price does dip, then of course the alts will be absolutely slaughtered again. So we just have to hope that this doesn't happen. I know that historically speaking, when we did see the price of the alts going up, it was because Bitcoin was stable. And then the same when Bitcoin just took off, there was like say 20 to 30% pump, then the alts would dump as the traders would jump onto the Bitcoin wave to try and get the profits there, and then they'd get back into the altcoins as soon as they saw some kind of sideways movement from Bitcoin. So we really have to hope that Bitcoin can hold its own between 13k and 14k. If that happens, it's going to be great. But before we get into the prices and check them, let's hear from today's channel sponsor, Cobalt Lend. This video has been sponsored by Cobalt Lend. Cobalt is a new way to borrow. The Cobalt lending platform aims to bring together borrowers into a fair democratic voting community in order to get all size loans, from microloans to six-figure loans, all without the oversight of a bank. Completely governed by the community, and therefore the community directly profits from its involvement. The current credit system is fundamentally flawed, and the Cobalt platform corrects this by facilitating a community voted and approved lending program on the blockchain that is completely based off the merits of the project. Now let's take a look at Cobalt to see what they're all about. Well, the ecosystem works by allowing borrowers to obtain loans from the treasury only if approved by the community vote. Both the buyer and the staker or the validator benefits from this model of decentralized lending because of less friction, lower fees, and lower overhead, while reducing wait time for loans. The model is a completely trustless protocol with no central authority in charge, nor is there any one central body who can unfairly manipulate the terms of lending, as the community has complete control at all times and can fund or deny any project they deem worthy. Now, how do they plan to incentivize the community? Borrowers are incentivized by receiving free Cobalt CBLT tokens, which are, by the way, an ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain, for borrowing. Stakers will be compensated in two ways. First, by verifying the blocks or the transaction on the blockchain, therefore receiving transaction fees that will be split with the treasury, and a small portion will be burned. Second, stakers will receive dividends paid out in Cobalt periodically by the treasury based on the positive tracked performance of the projects funded by the community through the treasury. The treasury will also conduct periodic buybacks of the Cobalt token as well. This, along with the current burn occurring routinely on the protocol, will contribute greatly to the deflationary model and therefore increasing the overall value for investors, wallet holders. So what are the different features they've got? The borrower, which is the wallet holder, the staker, the decentralized finance, social media, e-commerce, help and support. They will be conducting a token sale from the 31st of October if you are interested. There are some countries that are excluded, so do check the list here. Do fill in the details if you are interested. And you can also earn some Cobalt by taking part in their airdrop, which they've got based on social media challenges here. As we can see, they've got the Facebook challenge, the Twitter challenge, Instagram, and so on, if you are interested. So the first one I want to take a look at here is actually Keeper, because I have covered this recently. Actually, this was on the last video that I did. And I know I spoke about Keeper when it was 180 bucks, and then when I woke up the next day it was like 300 bucks. So I was like, Jesus, I can't believe this is still pumping. So now we had a bit of a pullback. Actually today it even went as low as 150, around that range. It didn't stay that long for too long, because we can see that is 207 right now, but it has pulled back by like 30%, because again the supply is very low. Look at this, the circulating supply is 200,000. so a lot of people have checked out my Keeper V1 video. Again, it's not like a full review of Keeper V1, it's just the info that we've got at the moment, which is Andre's Medium post and the official website, which doesn't have too much info. It's pretty much used for yield farming, for supplying liquidity and so on. But yeah, with Keeper V1, I do think that it likely has a shot to go on Binance, and this is again speculation from my side only because CZ and Andre seem to be good friends, right? CZ has listed Wi-Fi here in finance when that was launched. So what's to stop him from launching Keeper V1 too, right? It could happen. Again, speculation, not 100% guaranteed. Don't even think about getting in based on this. It's just based on my speculation, but I do think it's likely going to happen. I still don't own any Keeper V1. If it goes below 100, I might consider getting maybe a couple of them, just because I too want to speculate that it is going to list on Binance. I think that it will. So if that does happen, then of course, you know, it depends on Andre. If Andre posts a lot of good tweets, it might motivate CZ to just list them, right? Although CZ is kind of in some trouble right now. Apparently there was some news related to the FBI trying to crack down Binance and things like that. So I don't know, related to the US investors. So I don't know what's going on there. He says that's FUD, but who knows what's going to happen. But anyway, I do think that in the short run, likely in 1 month max, Binance are going to list them. If Binance don't list them within the next 1 month, maybe it's not even going to happen, right? But I do think that within a month, we likely should see it, because I know that Wi-Fi got listed pretty soon. I think it was within a month or so. So we'll see if history repeats itself with Keeper V1. Now the next one that I've been bullish on for quite some time, and I know that people have been very annoyed with this one because the price has just kept on dumping. It was actually trading at just over 5 cents yesterday. Now it's pulled back a little bit, just under 5 cents. Now it depends on which exchange. Is RioDeFi with the RFUEL token. It's still a token on the Ethereum blockchain, and the reason for this dump really is because of the emissions and the staking rewards. So basically the private sale investors are getting their funds, also the staking rewards. So they're basically selling the staking rewards for profit pretty much, right? So that they can reinvest in other assets. Because you could imagine, when you're a private sale investor, the minimum you can invest is something like $100,000 in most of these tokens, most of these token sales. So I mean, I don't think it was any different with Rio. It likely had a minimum of 100,000 as well. So you could imagine the staking rewards that those guys get, right? Because if the price of the token was like 7-8 cents at private sale, depending on which round they got into it, then, you know, even if it dumps a bit, they're still taking a lot of profit while waiting for the rest to stake and constantly selling those staking rewards, while they're also getting the RFUEL released to them as well, the one that they bought at the private sale. So again, mainnet is going to be soon. I think mainnet is actually going to launch tomorrow, and it's going to be the first phase of mainnet. Actually, they posted that in their on their Twitter page. I haven't followed too much lately. Like, I do check their Telegram now and again. But as we can see here, there's a campaign at the moment which is going to run for 72 hours after the RioChain mainnet release. And all winners will be announced on November 11th. So we can see this is what they're giving away here. 200,000 RFUEL and a limited edition Ledger Nano X. And also an iPhone 12 Pro. So they're really trying, right? And also all participants will receive at least $10 worth of RFUEL if they do enter. So yeah, it's going to be live on the 31st of October. So I am curious, and this is the price list here for the giveaway. So I am curious how it's going to do in terms of the price. I know that normally with these giveaways, you'd expect the price to dump, but actually in the past, historically speaking, when we saw giveaways, it actually caused the price to go higher, right? So we'll have to see tomorrow how what happens with Halloween as well, and so on. Maybe they wanted to time it with Halloween. Maybe that's the whole purpose of this, right? Anyway, let's move on to the next token here, and that's OM Mantra DAO. I know a lot of people that watch this channel do follow Mantra DAO. I know that a lot of you have watched the tutorial that I did on Mantra DAO staking. I haven't actually staked in that tutorial, but I just showed you how you can actually do it. Again, there has been some FUD with regards to Mantra DAO's staking rewards being too big. I mean, when, like with Rio or Fuel, if it's 50% annual return at the moment, right? But it doesn't mean it's going to be like that for the full year. And then with Mantra that was like 88%, so it's quite a lot. And of course, when you have whales that actually stake a lot, they want to sell for profit so they can reinvest in something else, or maybe even withdraw for fiat. And this is what happens, right? The price just dumps, and here we can see it suffering together, RFUEL and Mantra DAO. Now the next one I want to check here is Polkadot, which is of course the daddy, the biggest one that I've been covering all the time, and it's trading at $4.10 here. They're doing pretty well now. The Polkadot parachain auctions are not going to be ready yet, likely sometime next year. They're still working on some deployments, but they want to start off with the Kusama parachain auctions first. So we're going to take a look at that in a moment to see the price of Kusama. But I mean, Polkadot was like what, 680 give or take at its all-time high, and then it pulled back a bit. So we can see here it's stabilizing around 410. I know it dropped below it for a while too, like in the last couple of weeks. It's been like 370, 360 even if I'm not mistaken, and now it's just gone back above 4, and it's still not listed on Coinbase, surprisingly, even though Coinbase have invested in them. So we'll see. I do think Polkadot have a very good shot, likely in 2021 once the parachain auctions start, because you have to lock your DOT in order to vote for those parachain auctions, to help them vote. So and aside from that, the projects themselves that want to become parachains, they need to lock DOT too, and quite a significant amount. So that means there's going to be a lot of DOT taken out of circulation, and hence why the price should appreciate, but of course the market cap would grow too. Now the next one is Kusama that I want to check, and again the Kusama parachain auctions should start before the end of this year. It's going to be very soon with the Karura one from Phala Network. If you haven't seen my Phala Network review, I did a tutorial on the Phala Mandala app, how you can use it for taking loans using DeFi, and I haven't actually covered Karura, but Karura is basically like a testing ground of the Phala DeFi app. There's going to be the Karura app, but they want to grow that project independently, so there's going to be Karura and Phala coexisting, and they're going to take different routes. But initially Karura is just a testing ground before Phala goes live. So again, Karura is going to be a parachain on Kusama if they win the auction, if they manage to bond, and Phala is going to be a parachain on Polkadot, just to make that clear. And one other thing with Kusama is they've recently announced that they're going to do a redenomination. I believe it's going to be 100 to 1, the same as Polkadot had. This is what the community have voted, so that is going to happen. So there's going to be a lot more in more as in the total supply of Kusama. So I don't know how that's going to impact some people. Again, of course, the price is going to drop too. But again, anybody who's holding bags of Kusama are going to have 100 times more, right? So it doesn't really matter. The same happened to Polkadot, and look what it did. It still did pretty well, right? Because I think it's just a psychological feeling that people feel more confident when they have a bigger bag, and then if they have a smaller bag, right, and it's too expensive, because they have hopes that maybe it's going to get to this price again after the redenomination, right? So again, there's no guarantee it's not going to happen. It could, of course, or maybe not. So we'll have to see. Now the next one I want to talk about here is actually Phala Network. I have covered Phala Network too. I mean, they did pretty well price wise. They actually went to 19 cents, I believe close to 20 as well, and now they've pulled back significantly. And the reason why they really pumped, I could say, is because of the Web3 Foundation grant, and I'm going to be talking about that very soon now in this video. But again, I mean, they've got 137 million in circulation. 1 billion is the total supply. So, you know, considering, like, comparing it to RFUEL, like, and RioChain, consider that RioChain is actually a blockchain and RFUEL is the fuel token of RioChain, which is going to be used by every transaction on there. And Phala being just a dApp, being just working with data, I mean, it's amazing the difference, to see this difference in price, and the circulation supply is actually higher for Phala, and it was also airdropped to Kusama holders. So it's amazing that Phala Network is still holding its own so well, right? It just shows you, I mean, people have trust in Phala Network, otherwise why would it do so well? And yeah, I'm happy to see that, right? They've got 14.8 million market cap right now, so that's pretty good. Still has a lot of room to grow once the Polkadot ecosystem matures, and that's what I'd expect for most projects. And let's talk a little bit about the grants program. Now, with the grants program, I've mentioned this before, it's basically, this is the Web3 Foundation grants. Basically, all these projects that are trying to make Polkadot better, and they're trying to make it interoperable, create bridges for Polkadot, Oracle solutions for Polkadot, DeFi solutions, all this sort of stuff, even storage solutions for Polkadot. All of these are getting grants, and of course they had to apply to get grants. But as we can see here, all these different projects are part of different waves. So the first wave was this group here, as you can see, ChainSafe, Soramitsu with XOR, WebScan, Polka Wallet, and so on. Here we had wave 2 here, as we can see, Robonomics, Zero Chain, some of the ones that you're probably familiar with. We had wave 3 here as well. Phala Network was part of it, so they have received the grant. And again, they have actually given the grants to all the waves up to wave 7. And actually what's interesting here, one which actually caught my eye here was Selfkey, part of wave 5. I didn't even know Selfkey applied for the grant. I don't know how I missed this, but Selfkey have been around for quite some time. They're listed on Binance at the moment as well. They have been listed on Binance, I think, since 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Cross Network is an interesting one because it's a decentralized storage solution, but again, they are competing with Filecoin. So what's to stop Polkadot from using Filecoin, right, and not Cross Network? So there is a risk for Cross Network here, but the fact that they did get the grant is a pretty bullish sign too. And again, this is tradable, by the way. Laminar again is part of the Phala Network ecosystem with regards to their DEX. What other ones did we see here? And this is wave 7 again. So all of these from wave 7, anything up to wave 7 got the grant approved. As we can see here, Equilibrium is one that I heard of before. But the big one, and I was actually really surprised when I saw this is part of wave 8. It's very likely that these guys are also going to get the grants, but they haven't been approved yet. And as you can see here, the big one is Phala Network, and I was very, very bullish on this. I think I'm one of the few people that has actually done a review on Phala Network. So if you're watching this on YouTube, do check it out. It should pop up on the top right hand corner of the screen. If you're watching this on other platforms, do check my historical videos on that channel, be it Library TV or Theta or BitTube, where I've covered Phala Network. It's a very interesting project because they're working with decentralized oracles using a data warehouse, which means that they've got a lot of servers where they can store all these sorts of data with regards to the oracle information to be able to get that for Polkadot. They're dedicated to Polkadot, so that's their whole purpose, unlike Chainlink. And this is it. I mean, they basically part of the wave 8, so that means that the Web3 Foundation have reviewed them, have done their research on them, and they're not considered scammy, and this is a big plus, right? Because I did have some question marks with regards to their transparency, I should say, and I wasn't entirely sure, because when I discovered that Polka project, and again I mentioned this in a separate video, that anything that's on Polka project does not mean that they're necessarily building on Polkadot, or maybe they are building on Polkadot, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be linked to Polkadot in terms of partnerships, in terms of receiving support from the community and so on, right? Some of these try to piggyback and they try to list on Polka project to make it seem like they're going to be partnering with Polkadot in order to pump the price, of course, or in order to get people to take part in their token sale. So the fact that Phala Network are part of wave 8, they haven't been approved yet, but they likely will be in this batch here. It's the only batch remaining that hasn't been approved, and it's the newest batch too. I'm very bullish on Phala Network, and again, the private sale is actually complete now. They've closed that, but the public sale is yet to be announced. They did say that it's likely going to happen before the end of this year, but they're not 100% sure. So if it does happen, yes, I am keeping an eye on it. I really don't want to miss this. So I will be getting notifications, and hopefully as soon as I find out, I can do a video to let you know too, just in case you're interested. Again, not financial advice, not being sponsored or anything, but it's just because I'm personally bullish on Phala Network. I want to share this with the community too. In case you're also looking forward to it, simply because you've seen what oracles do, right? Oracles pump. It's as simple as that, and people want to get into the pumps. Oracles and DeFi, because they're working with DeFi too. So, and then this other article that I want to talk about is just basically confirming that the Wave 7 recipients have received their grants, and this was from the 14th of October. So I think that pretty soon we should see some update with regards to Wave 8. And when that happens, of course, everyone's going to be bullish on Wave 8. So here we can see, if you read this article, I'm going to post this in the description of the video. You can read more about the Web3 Foundation Grants and how they work, and why it's very important when you research a project building on Polkadot, or not necessarily on Polkadot, but on Substrate, wanting to link to Polkadot or wanting to partner, to have the Web3 Foundation Grant, or to be on the list for the Web3 Foundation Grant, or some kind of link to the Web3 Foundation, right? Wanting to apply for the grant, maybe Wave 9, maybe Wave 10, right? Or more. But at least having some kind of link to the Web3 Foundation, that gives them more transparency and more reason to be bullish. That's it from today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and let me know what you think as always in the comments below. Take care. Bye-bye.